Shomrabyug.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sherlock, Listen podcast. It's a pop.
Sherlock, listen.
Sherlock, listen.
Sherlock, listen.
Sherlock, listen.
Sherlock, listen.
Sherlock, listen.
Sherlock, listen. Oh, God. Oh, Benjamin. We're an hour deep. And everything's gone wrong. The mic's not recording. And I was late because the Lewis broke down, and then you couldn't get your mic to work. And oh, God, the absolute suffering of this episode. But sure, look, we don't have time to talk about any of that because we have loads of stuff to look at in the world of pop culture, including Cinema is Dead again. Also, we've seen a trailer for The Witcher, but this time it's cosplay. And a full trailer for Beetlejuice 2. Don't worry about it. Winona Ryder is in this, after all. Calm yourselves down. And you've seen Doctor Who, and you're going to give us a mid-season review, which I'm sure is going to be bereft of any controversy whatsoever.
Sure, listen, Michael, you know that's not the case. But if that wasn't enough, timely and fitting in with our mid-season review of Doctor Who Electric Boogaloo 2, we're looking at where do gods come from? How do we make those up? Why do we have them around? What's the deal?
What's the deal? Where are they coming from? They're just springing up out of everywhere. But Benjamin, speaking of religiosity and God is dead, guess what else is dead?
Cinema.
Yeah, cinema's dead. So, Furiosa, your favourite and mine, Furiosa, Benjamin, it's absolute, despite, I must say, reviews coming in and saying that it's quite good. I haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it, Michael. It's not out here.
It's not. It is out here. It's out now. We could have seen it yesterday, but we didn't. Apparently, everyone else. Because despite being a big, huge film with a big, famous director as part of a beloved franchise starring Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth, fuck all people went to see it.
No one. Not a soul, Michael.
No, not true, Benjamin. Not a soul. About 25 people went to see it, each of them paying $1 million to see it.
Yes, because that's what it's made at the box office, the Ufficio do Box, this weekend.
Ufficio do Box, as they say in Italian. But Benjamin, I think you've taken the American numbers, and once again, because of your Americentrism, you've ignored the rest of the world. So you can comfortably double that when you take the rest of the world into account. So it's made about 50 million. On a budget of 168. And that's just for the film, Ben. That doesn't even include the marketing and sticking all those arrows in Anya Taylor-Joy so she could do that film show.
Yeah, that weird thing on that film show.
Absolute box office fiasco, Benjamin. It might even get beaten to number one by Chris Hemsworth, not Chris Hemsworth, the other Chris, the worst Chris.
Chris P. Rat.
Crispy Rat playing the Crispy Cat Garfield movie might even take the number one spot from it. And everyone's saying that's a big shocker, but is it? Mario movie was like the second biggest movie of last year.
Yeah, look, the issue here isn't anything to do with, I don't know, you could look at this and say it's cinema fatigue or franchise fatigue or whatever you want, but it's just, cinema's too expensive and the stuff they're putting out is shit.
Okay, look. Cinema's too expensive, for sure.
Yeah.
They keep making these massive budget films. If every film's a risk, nothing's a risk. It's all just stupid.
And expensive.
But my issue with this is nobody wants this type of film. Nobody wants... Benjamin Colopy, sit yourself down there for 1 second.
All right.
And you tell me one film that's ever been popular, which was a prequel based on a side character with different cast. You tell me one film that's been popular with that set of conditions. Rack your brain there, Benjamin.
Is this a test?
No, it's not a test. There isn't any.
Okay, good. That would have been my second answer.
Yeah, no, there isn't any. No, I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe the listeners will go, oh no, what about Solo, the Star Wars story? No, that was rubbish.
Yeah, that was a bit shit, wasn't it?
Yeah. Cinema in itself seems to be doing this a lot, but Marvel and the Marvelification of cinema in particular seems to be ripe with it. Now, Marvel aren't doing it in the form of a lot of movies. Marvel give us, oh, you enjoyed that side character, did you? Here's a 6-issue miniseries.
Yeah, do you want to build a franchise? No.
Same cast. This is mental. Why was this made? They took not even a beloved character, a popular side character from a popular film. They spent 168 million on telling us that character's backstory. We knew that character's backstory. We already knew.
They explained it
Fury
in
Road.
the movie.
Yeah. Mad Max Fury Road is Furiosa's story.
Yeah, we already sidelined the main character of the franchise.
Yeah, and everyone was fine with it because it was a good movie. And apparently this movie is also good, with good special effects and good acting and good story. And it's a fun action movie set in the Mad Max universe. Maybe they would have been better served if they'd just done a sequel and made a new character.
Nah. We've got franchises to spin off, Michael.
I don't get it. I don't get this notion of, oh, that character was a little bit popular. Quick, spin it off and fucking prequel. Get that prequel in there.
At this point, though, Michael, it's a losing formula. Like, whatever about risk management in the beginning, the misguided belief that playing it safe and sticking to established franchises was the way to continue to make money. All right, fair enough. You could cash in on that maybe on massively established franchises like The Lion King. All right.
Star Wars.
Fair enough. But it's a point of diminishing returns, and at this point, the returns have diminished. Okay, they're gone.
They're
diminished.
They've
It's now a point.
all the way down.
It's just gone. They've diminished to a nub. But it's now proven itself to be the opposite issue. Now it's just a losing formula because we see a prequel and we go, oh, Jesus. Or
A prequel, Ben. A prequel about a side character, Ben. Played by different actors. Why? Why did they do this?
it's never been I will never understand what gave executives the notion that people wanted this kind of thing. I'm trying to think of popular side character spin-offs, like the test you put to me earlier, Michael.
Yes.
And I
Have you thought of
can't...
any in that time?
No, I can't for the life of me think of any of them where we've looked at the character and gone, oh yeah, I want to see more of that. Nobody looked at Die Hard and said, oh yeah, give the chubby cop outside a fucking series of his own. I want to see that guy's day to day.
Not just that guy's day to day, Ben. The prequel. The prequel about how he became a chubby cop, in which he is played by a different actor to the one who plays him in the show, in the first movie.
It's madness, Michael. It's just
Just
weird.
do new characters. Just do new characters. Too long passed. They would have gotten away with this if a year passed and they got Charlize Theron back. I still would have argued that it was pointless. But this just has resoundingly not resonated with cinema-going audiences. Nobody cares.
Because nobody cared in the first place. Nobody asked for this prequel, Michael. Nobody went, I'd love to know more about Furiosa.
Ben, people did ask. Some people wanted to know about Furiosa. And I would say about $50 million worth of cinema tickets worth of people cared.
Yeah, actually, fair.
About that many people wanted to know.
Fair.
And if someone had made this movie for $10 million, then guess what? Would have been fine.
Would have been grand, probably.
Would have been grand, probably. But now, no. Big write-off in marketing.
Speaking of weird spin-offs that don't have the original actors and can probably be classed as a big write-off, Michael.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, I don't have it up there, but it's The Witcher.
Yay, we got a teaser trailer for The Witcher Season 5. I don't know if The Witcher Season 4 is out, but we got a teaser for The Witcher Season 5.
Yeah. That's a very good joke. I enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
I don't think that wasn't intended to be a joke. That was a genuine observation. I don't know. Is The Witcher Season 4 out?
So I've seen The Witcher season 4. I've seen all the Witchers, Michael. And
Oh, really? Go on.
let me be honest, before we preface this, look, there's going to be a bit of Liam's Hemsworth bashing here, right? But
That's fine.
this man, Liam Hemsworth, we got our first look at him,
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
He's inherited...
Now, I've seen him before, Ben.
I've also seen him before, Michael. I believe he was married to Miley Cyrus at one point. He was Miley Cyrus's husband.
He was in, if you remember, the Hunger Games.
I don't remember the Hunger Games. I think I blocked it out.
He was in that,
No, very good. Good for
for
him.
example.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. Yeah, he's fine. He's grand. Look, Liam's fine. He's not the best Hemsworth, but if you can't get Chris, get Liam. It's fine.
Yeah. Fine.
Fine. I'm convinced, Michael, and this is very mean towards Liam Hemsworth, I'm convinced that they were trying to get Chris Hemsworth to take over as the Witcher, and they rang the house and they said, "Oh, is Mr. Hemsworth in?" And their mum, who wanted to give him a chance, said,
Vera
"Go on
Vera
there
Hemsworth.
and pretend to be your brother. Get on the phone."
I don't know. I think Liam Hemsworth is a better choice for this. I don't think Chris Hemsworth could reel in the Chris Hemsworth of himself. Chris Hemsworth have become a walking parody of himself, and I don't think he could reel it in for this. It would be like casting Jason Momoa as the Witcher.
Oh, Michael, I would watch the shit out of season 5 of The Witcher if Jason Momoa was there going, "Yeah!" as he slides him into...
Whoa!
I'd watch
God damn, look at these fucking vampires.
That's a very accurate Jason Momoa. Like I was saying previously, it's unfair to Liam's Hemsworth, which apparently I can't
Liam's
say
Hemsworth.
Liam
Let's
Hemsworth.
go with it. We say Star Wars, so we also say Liam's Hemsworth.
Liam's Hemsworth
Yeah.
has drank from a poison chalice, because I'll be honest with you, season 4 of The Witcher was a fucking shit show. It was boring, it was tedious, it was rushed. I don't know how something can stuff so much into a single season and still be dull as dishwater, but season 4 of The Witcher it wasn't great.
Benjamin, the secret to it is getting people to make it who simultaneously fucking hate it. That seems to be the key.
That's apparently the secret sauce to driving a franchise into the ground. But anyway, speaking of the thing that we did get this week, Michael, we got The Witcher season 4 teaser. And as you rightfully pointed out in your lovely intro, it's a bit like Witcher cosplay.
It is. It's just Liam Hemsworth in what's his name? Henry Cavill's outfit.
I cannot understand, Michael. Again, a decision I can't understand. When your biggest star steps away, and Henry Cavill is a big star. He's huge.
He's not that big. He's smaller than Alan Richardson.
Most
Oh,
people
you mean
are,
in terms
though.
of star power?
Yes,
Yeah,
in
no,
terms of
makes
star
sense.
power, Michael. He's got quite a heft behind him, star power-wise.
Does he?
Does he? Don't
He's
know.
beloved in nerd circles because he's probably one of us, or at the very least, an undiagnosed autistic. But is he a massive box office draw? I don't know if he is.
Yeah, look. Maybe I'm attributing 2010's Superman star power to him.
Yeah, and even then,
Yeah.
that movie wasn't an unmitigated success. Justice League was a bit of a flop. Batman vs. Superman underperformed. What else has he done? He was the baddie in Mission Impossible, but Tom Cruise carries that. Argyle wasn't a huge hit.
Flop, in fact.
I don't know if the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is doing particularly well. I don't know if Henry Cavill is a huge star.
Well, Henry, if you'd like to come on the podcast and defend your reputation, please do.
Yeah, and Henry and I would probably get on swimmingly, Benjamin. He likes a jiu-jitsu, so we'd have a little fight, and then we could paint some models together.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. Look, ladies and gentlemen, if
Have a
you
lovely
want
time.
Michael to fight Henry Cavill in the dojo,
Yeah, that'd be fine.
there's a few things that you can do. You can give us a review wherever you listen, boost our profile so that Henry actually hears this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I'm not saying he's not good. He's great. I'm just saying I don't think he's quite the star.
Yeah, no, I'm just
power
saying
that-
if you'd like Henry to come on the podcast and defend himself, ladies and gentlemen, boost our profile. Give us a review wherever you listen. If you enjoy this kind of inane banter that goes nowhere, give us a review wherever you listen. Just check us out. Give us a little star rating. Get up there on iTunes and give us a review. Or if you hate this kind of thing and you want to scream into the void at us, hop up on the Discord.
Yeah.
It's linked below in the description.
hop up on it and just insult us directly. Benjamin, in our defence, this might be more ramblionic today because we've both had a bit of a rough day.
Oh, Michael, it's been a day.
Oh, God almighty, Benjamin. I had to walk 5 kilometres to get home.
That's too many kilometres to get home.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
I have a bald head and it's sunny out. I can
Michael.
feel my flesh tingling.
Michael, you look like one of those red balls they sell to dogs in pet stores. It's awful.
Yeah, exactly. Benjamin, speaking though of blue balls, finally, Beetlejuice, the trailer 2, has given us a proper trailer. And guess what? Good news. It is about Winona Ryder. It's not about Jenna Ortega, so everyone can calm down.
Look, it's about Winona Ryder as far as we can see. I like this. First of all, let me get away. I'm worried, Michael, that we're becoming a negative podcast. It really upsets me sometimes.
We're not, though. It's just been bad news at the start there. Let's get into the good news.
I just think things are a bit shit in Hollywood at the minute. It might be affecting us. I'm not sure.
No, remember how happy we were about X-Men, Ben?
Oh, yeah, we loved X-Men, Michael. There was a real void in my life this week. And it was
Yeah, because
X-Men.
there's no X-Men on.
There's no X-Men. Do you know what? We'll get into it in a second, what I turned to fill that void, Michael, and to whether or not it was successful. But this looks fun. This looks different. This looks enjoyable-ish. I don't know how I feel about Tim Burton anymore. He's a bit of a one-trick pony. A one-trick dead pony, if you will.
Very good. Beating a dead horse, and the dead horse is like, oh, stop beating me. I'm
Yeah.
so zany and whimsical.
Yeah, probably voiced by Johnny Depp.
Matt
There
Berry.
we go. I found him. It'll be Johnny Depp. But we got this, Michael, and it's a kitsch extravaganza. It's great. From the very opening to this, Michael, we get, as if to assuage the fears of many a Tim Burton fan, we get Winona Ryder introducing her own trailer. And
Yeah.
there's a slight static on the screen. There's grain all over the place. And it is something that has leapt right out of the 1970s horror anthology show format. It's fabulous. It's a great little
She's doing
nod.
She's doing a big Elvira, Ben.
It's a big old Elvira. It's a crypt keeper. It's a Vincent Price in the House of Blood motif. It's great stuff. Yeah.
Very good. Ben,
Yeah.
my favourite thing, though, about this whole trailer is I don't know enough about this. Now, some people might say you could have researched this before the podcast started. But as I just said, the Lewis broke down and I had to walk for 5 kilometres with young Neil. And I'm tired and I didn't get a chance to do a lot of stuff. But I don't know if they've really done it, but at least they're aping the effects of the original by having everything look practical and cartoony instead of modern CG cleanness. And I think it's a very refreshing and exciting aesthetic.
I think that might be what I enjoyed the most, Michael, is that there's a heap of practical to special effects in this. There's a mountain of caked on makeup, just like the original. And I'm all for it. I quite like it. I'll have more of it, please and thank you.
Yeah. Now, I don't know, in the original with the sandworms, with the big stripy sandworms, I assume they were stop motion in the original.
They were.
Are they stop motion in this? Do we know? Have we done our research? Are they stop motion in this, or is it computer animation imitating the style of stop motion?
I think it's janky computer animation aping the style of the classic stop motion, because he has since stopped working with the stop motion maestro Henry Selick.
Oh, that's a shame.
Or rather, Henry Selick has stopped working with him.
Oh, that's a shame, Benjamin.
That's what happens, Michael, when you take credit for an entire animated movie made by Henry Selick with your IP by putting your name over it and then waltzing around as if it was your idea.
Oh, which one is that? Which one are you claiming is that?
The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, I thought that was Tim Burton.
No, Tim Burton created the original story on which The Nightmare Before Christmas is based.
Go on.
He then had something of a hand in helping Danny Elfman get cast to do the music. He also helped with the art direction overall, but the man behind it, the director and animator of the movie, was Henry Selick.
I think it was Tim Burton, Ben.
His name is over the title. It must be.
You sure it's Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas?
Speaking of Tim Burton's tropes that are everywhere and unavoidable, we got a whole heap of them in this, Michael. The Corpse Bride is back, but this time it's played by his lover, Monica Bellucci.
Yeah, they got Monica Bellucci in there, Benjamin. Presumably that role would have been played by Helena Bonham Carter 10 years ago, but not anymore.
Nope, because bloody Tim met Monica Bellucci and was like, all right, Helena, see you later.
Helena Bonham Carter out, Monica Bellucci in.
In.
And I'll tell you what, Ben, there's no complaints from me.
Oh, look, here. I don't think anyone's complaining about gothic, spooky, half-dead Monica Bellucci stalking around looking for someone. Look for me.
She's doing a big look for Ben. He's over here. Look, he's waving his arms. He's doing a fucking terrible job of hiding there. One would think he wants to be caught.
There's a few things, Michael, that are probably going to appeal to a certain type of man, Michael. There's a moment where Monica Bellucci lifts somebody up by their neck. And I'm fairly certain Tim Burton is dotting a lot of I's and crossing a lot of T's for a very specific demographic of the internet.
Yeah, Benjamin, as soon as that scene happened, I heard the sound of millions of PlayStations being turned off as people lost interest in their Resident Evil 8. I go, oh, that's old news. See ya, Lady Dimitrescu. Fuck, I hope I got that right. I've got a new obsession.
So that's in there. That's looking good. Justin Theroux is in this for some reason. I think he's playing.
He is.
I think he's
Some
playing.
Sort of nebbish fella.
Yeah, I think he's playing Lydia's life partner, husband. I don't know, but yeah, I think that's what's happening there. Catherine O'Hara is back. She looks to be dead. She's in death's waiting room in a part of the trailer. So I don't know if she's also passed away.
Do you need to be dead to be in death's waiting room in the world of Beetlejuice?
I know it's not easy to get there. That's the only reason I say that, Michael. But I'm not sure. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. Maybe she's just found herself there by happenstance.
Happenstance, maybe. Benjamin.
Yes.
My favourite thing about this whole trailer is that Michael Keaton now looks as old as the Beetlejuice makeup used to make him look.
Yeah, that's actually there's no makeup on Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton is just aged into this role.
Yep. It's part of the budget consideration. It's how he got the gig. They were just like, that'll save us a fortune.
Just let him get old and terrifying.
Look, I am still terrified by the original Beetlejuice. I think it has wonderful macabre undertones. No Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin from the trailer. I don't know if we'll get a little hint of them.
Gina Davis was interviewed, Benjamin, and she said, I ain't been in that. The whole point of my character was that we were dead and we were ghosts, and now I'm too old to play the same character.
Where's Gina Davis from?
That was actually just a clip I've played from the recording of Gina Davis.
Okay.
Famously, Gina Davis's voice is why Cutthroat Island failed so spectacularly. Oh, we've got to get on to Pirate Island to get all the treasure, mate.
Notable Australian Cockney, Gina Davis.
I don't even know what I'm doing, man. I don't know what that was. I'm sorry, everyone. I don't know why Gina Davis. That's a new podcast character, though. Interviews with Gina Davis.
The Australian Cockney. We don't know how many jokes we're going to repeat, Michael. There's a little throw in at the end of the trailer where Michael Keaton does the classic back to the audience face explodey thing.
Classic.
That we saw in Beetlejuice 1 done a few times. And it looks to be that. Hopefully we don't get too much of that, Michael. I'm going to put a theory out here now, just in case I make a reel out of it and it's wrong. So we get a big surge of comments in about 2 months' time.
Great.
But I reckon...
So do you want to put a disclaimer now, Ben? That this is for the trailer. We haven't seen the movie yet. Not because we haven't done our research, but because it's not fucking out yet at the time of this. And if you're wondering if it's out or not, we've got a live recording of actor Gina Davis saying that it's not out yet, which we will now play. Oh, yeah, it's not out yet. So now you can go ahead, Ben, and do your bit.
Thanks for that. As of the 27th of May, 2024, when the film's not out, I reckon...
Ask Gina Davis.
Because we saw a second instance of Lydia Dietz speaking to the audience while looking at something on a television in the style of the 1970s hit horror anthology show Elvira, I reckon she's dead.
Yeah.
And that's the framing device we're
Oh.
using, Michael.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm probably
And
wrong.
Jenna Ortega's alive.
Ortega's alive for some reason. I don't know if they're gonna have old Juice of the Beetle try it on with the daughter in kind of a WB Yeats style Maud Gone lechery thing. I don't know.
An old Jonathan Swift style bit of lechery.
How's it going? You don't want to sleep with me. Your daughter's looking mighty legal. Come here to me. Yeah, it's
This was
fucking
fine
awful.
back in these days, whenever this was.
Fucking awful stuff. Awful
The 80s.
stuff. I don't like it.
Anyway, Benjamin,
Yeah.
speaking of awful stuff that you don't like, you've been enjoying Doctor Who.
Michael, there's a void in my life. It's in the shape of X-Men 97, and I had to fill that void this week.
I've filled it, Benjamin, with playing with my X-Men 97 action figures.
Michael is now making a series of, I guess what you call bootleg robot chicken skits. Yeah, little skits. And you can actually go to our TikTok and Instagram, linked below in the description, and you can check out some of the very funny vegetable-based mutant humour that Michael's been churning out. Great stuff.
Now, Benjamin, you were doing a robot voice. From my perspective, that entire thing you just said there was in a robot voice. So I'd love to see if you're going to have to edit that out or leave it in. It's hard to tell.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael's been doing a series of, I guess what you'd call bootleg robot chicken skits. Very
It's actually
good.
quite funny. I'm sorry I missed it the first time because that is actually quite funny.
And if you'd like to hear those skits, you can go and check out our Instagram and TikTok linked below in the description to see some vegetable-based mutant humour.
Oh, vegetable-based mutant humour. Very good. I get it. That's very good. Benjamin,
Yes.
what's going on with Doctor Who?
So, Michael, I filled the void with Doctor Who, season 14 of Doctor Who, starring Ncuti Gatwa, and I just decided to check it out. And the reason I checked it out, Michael, is because I saw the trailer for the 5th episode, if we include the Christmas special in this one, 73 Yards. And this grabbed me immediately, Michael. It looked to be
Oh,
an M.R. James style ghost story centered around the new
Mr.
companion.
James.
Mr. James to you. Centered around season
Yep.
14's companion, Ruby Sunday. Now,
That's a good name.
yes, it is. It's rather good, isn't it? Ruby Sunday's a good name. They're good at companion names. Amelia Pond's up there. They're good names. Clara Oswald, not so much. But look, we'll get into that another time on the podcast, Michael. Anyway, I saw this. It was a gripping, kind of strange mystery. The Doctor, it hit upon my favourite thing, Michael, which is gothic folk horror. I fucking love gothic folk horror.
Benjamin,
Yeah.
don't look behind you. But is that an old lady in a veil sitting in a window looking out at you?
Oh! It was actually. Yeah, that's just my neighbour, though. Mrs. Gothic Veil to you.
I was going to suggest it was my mam.
It's just your ma, just Pamela, dropping
Just
in
Pamela.
for a spot haunting.
Boo!
Oh,
Spook.
you got me again, Pam. You spooky bitch.
Don't call my mother a spooky bitch. How very dare you?
Your
Better
mother,
put
her
that in a
name's
reel.
not Pam.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Oh, bin, huh? So anyway,
Oh, God.
filled with gothic folk horror. Basically, what happens is the Doctor steps on a fairy. It's not a fairy mound, it's a fairy structure. It's there to respect the fairies. He steps on it and he disappears from the narrative, Michael. And then Ruby Sunday is forced to solve this mystery. There is actually a spooky woman in the distance. She is approximately how many yards away do you reckon at all times, Michael?
73 yards.
Very good. Very.
It's the name of the episode.
It's the name of the episode, Michael. And I saw this and I went, fuck me, this looks fun. And then I saw a couple of reviews of the episode without spoilers that said this is one of the most interesting twists on Doctor Who they'd ever seen. And I went, fuck me, in the words of Gina Davis. I'm going to give that a look.
Oh, sorry. Is that Gina Davis?
And I said, I'm going to give that a look. And I did, Michael. And you know what?
What was any use?
It plays out as a weird gothic folktale horror.
Oh, that sounds great, Benjamin. Is this season's kind of, oh my God, I can't speak. What am I trying to say? Concept episode. Is this season's Blink or this season's the other good episodes?
It's certainly an attempt at that, Michael. And there's a few interesting things that go on in this episode. Now, as I said, exactly what I suspected from the trailer is what I got. We get a ghost story in the style of M.R. James. That's pretty cool. M.R. James is a huge influence on the British ghost story, which is very unique from the American ghost story, Michael. And I'm just going to go in on this a little bit because I think I could make a tasty reel out of this.
Oh, we love a reel.
But come here to me. M.R. James...
Ben, I'll just have a little rest.
Just have a little rest. I'll spin my wheels.
I'll have a little rest. You spin your wheels.
I do need some colour commentary, so you're going to have to...
Okay, every now and then I'll just say that's Mr. James to you, but otherwise I won't be listening.
Very tidy. M.R. James was a pretty famous... He's now very famous as a ghost story writer from England. And
That's
he
Mr.
wrote...
James to you, Ben.
It is indeed. He wrote in the early 1900s, from about 1904 to 1925. That was his last published book.
He must have been very tired.
He knackered. He just kept going for 21 years.
Years doesn't non-stop. That sounds like a gothic horror story in its own, Ben.
It does. Very poetic, isn't it? The quill that made you write for 21 years. That you
Write it down, Ben. Write it down. Quick, copyright it before Disney gets it.
You stole it from your lover's grave and it cursed you. The lover that you murdered with a black cat, bludgeoning them to death with a black cat.
Yeah, and then started going out with their daughter. You fucking creep.
Fucking W.B. Yeats. You dirty bastard. Anyway, come here. Jamesian story methods are quite interesting. I say Jamesian because he's so prolific was his writing and so influential was it on the British ghost scene that he had a method, a narrative style named after him, and it was called the Jamesian story method. So the setting of an M.R. James ghost story.
That's Mr. James to you.
Very good. I gave you the gap there. I learned we're adapting.
Thank you.
Is almost always in a secluded, bookish academia setting. English villages, seaside towns, old country estates, tucked away rural spaces. Doesn't always have to be England. Could be France, could be Denmark, could be Sweden. And he loves Bray. Probably Bray. Sean Kerslake will star in the adaptation. Fucking Bray.
We'll see that.
But anyway, the other thing he loves, Michael, is a good old-fashioned spooky university or abbey. Those are big.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the big ones. I suppose, in a sense, Michael, this could be seen as a precursor to the dark academia. To the dark academia movement that is quite popular these days.
Oh, go on, like Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday to a degree. I think Wednesday would be seen now as a dark academia thing, but very like Babel from R.F. Kuang or The Secret History by Donna Tartt. A lot of those are what we would consider today to be dark academia or gothic academia novels, and this would have been the precursor to all of that, especially in terms of the protagonist. A Jamesian protagonist is almost always an Ichabod Crane type. He's just a nerd.
Just some fucking Justin Theroux-esque nebbish loser.
Yeah, he's just a tossbag who's been thrown into mysterious circumstances, and all he wants to do is read his book.
Oh, yeah, I can see why you relate to this.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'm a Jamesian protagonist if ever there was one, Michael. But
Yeah. I'd just punch my way out, Ben. I wouldn't be bothered with any of those books.
yes, you're more of a classic American protagonist from that time, Michael, an R.H. Haggard.
Yeah.
Or no, a Rider Hate. Or it's R.H. Haggard. I think I'm right. Anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah. The plot device, Michael, is usually, oh, what's this spooky old thing? And a local goes, oh, I shouldn't touch that. That's actually not
Gina Davis again.
No, that's not 90s sensation Gina Davis. That is other notable 90s icon, Cher.
Cher's a 70s icon, but go on.
Oh, you shouldn't go touching that. And then, lo and behold, Michael, they go touching that. And then they get haunted. And one of the awful things that happens is M.R. James was a huge advocate of what he called artistic reticence.
That's Mr. James to you, actually.
It is indeed. An artistic reticence, Michael, is a narrative technique where writers intentionally leave out details in order to build interest, enhance tension, and controls the reader's comprehension of theme, character, and event. Now, we've talked before about
fucking sure it is. Fucking sure it is. Look, I believe him. I believe you, M.R. James. Fucking millions wouldn't, but I believe you. Oh, I left that out for tension, actually. Sure you did, mate.
We've seen that before, Michael, on this podcast. When we talk about the unreliable narrator, quite often omissions like that would be a form of artistic reticence.
Yeah, sure it would.
But anyway,
I'm doing a big wink, just in case you can't tell.
the other thing that M.R. James is really famous for is his ability to build a slow, creeping tension in his literary pursuits, where a perfectly normal setting, like a seaside village, just becomes this awful place. And there's all kinds of key traits that bring this out. There's a focus on mundane details to enhance the impact of the supernatural. The supernatural events are filled in through implication, or they happen off screen and stuff like that. And there's an emphasis on atmosphere and a gradual build-up of tension. And those are all present in episode 5, 73 yards of season 14 of Doctor Who. And spoilers from this point on, ladies and gentlemen. So just listen away now if you don't want it spoiled. Then Russell T Davies goes and fucks it.
Oh, classic Rusty TD.
And he does a Black Mirror of the Week style conclusion to the plot, and it's fucking shite.
Oh no, is Doctor Who the bloody ghost?
No. So what happens is the old woman that's haunting Ruby Tuesday. So the Doctor vanishes from the episode. The entire episode, not Ruby Tuesday, Ruby Sunday. So Long Ruby Tuesday is the Beatles song. But I don't think it's a Beatles song. Anyway, Ruby Tuesday is someone of fame.
No. Get out of this loop.
I'm
That's a Beatles
stuck in the
song.
loop, Michael.
Get out of the loop. Get out of the loop. Don't worry about that.
So, Michael,
Tell us what happens.
you have accidentally stumbled upon the revelation of the plot, which is Ruby
Oh, have I?
Sunday is stuck in a loop. The old woman haunting Ruby Sunday throughout the text is Ruby Sunday from the future.
Oh, a classic twist.
And Michael, one of the frustrating things about this is it hits upon those Jamesian elements so well, because only Ruby can really be kept distanced from her. There's a term given to it in the text, or in the episode, which is called Semper Distantis, and it's called the Semper Distantis curse. She's always 73 yards away from her, so she can't really get any information out of her. And she can't really make her out.
Okay.
And if you try to photograph her or you try to do anything like that, it doesn't work properly. The other thing is, if someone else interacts with her, they run away screaming mad.
Oh, great. I love it.
And that would have been fabulous, Michael. Fabulous. Because the other thing it does, Michael, is it introduces quite a supernatural element. There's a supernatural theme running through this, which isn't like Doctor Who. Doctor Who often pushes away supernatural or magical occurrences, hauntings and things like that, by saying, oh, it's just an alien species you don't understand.
Any technology sufficiently advanced would appear as magic.
Absolutely perfect. The Asimov quote is Doctor Who's rejuvenation to a T, Michael. The new series of Doctor Who follows that kind of creed religiously. Whenever we have vampires in Venice, oh, it's an alien species that's feeding on young men. Whenever we have a werewolf in Scotland, oh, it's an alien species with a curse and a parasite you don't understand. There's always an explanation.
Or just an alien shitbag.
And in this, Michael, we get rid of the Doctor, so we don't have to listen to him going, well, you just don't really understand intergalactic species, do you? We don't have to listen to that.
No, I don't. No, I don't, Gina.
No, I don't, Gina. And we didn't have to deal with that. We don't
96
have
patient Gina.
anything like that. And it was so interesting. But it turns out, Michael, that the summation of the plot is she's supposed to... This is where it turns a bit Black Mirror for me and really annoyed me. Because what happens is, good old Ruby Sunday is supposed to stop a man from being elected who will cause nuclear war in Britain.
Oh, yeah.
And she discovers this from the Doctor 5 minutes before he steps in the fairy structure, triggers the event that's happening, and then she has to sort it out all by herself. Now, it's never explained. He uses a bit... It's really funny. Russell T Davies uses a little bit that Jamesian technique of reticence, where he just leaves out the explanation for any of this.
Sure he does, yeah.
He just closes out the loop. And for some reason, in the second go around, Ruby Sunday hears the woman and knows not to let the Doctor step any further, and she stops. It's never explained where the Doctor goes. The TARDIS stays. It just rots over time and sits at the top of a cliff in Wales. It's never explained. And the story takes place over about 60 years. It goes through Ruby's entire life, separate from the Doctor, which we've seen before in the likes of the Blink episode and stuff, where people are forced to live their lives without the Doctor. We've seen it with Amelia Pond in other episodes as well. An alternate version of Amy Pond has to live through a weird space prison ward thing. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens. And it was so interesting up until they fell back on the classic, oh, it's timey-wimey.
Oh, it was a loop the whole time. I love it. I love a time loop.
Very frustrating. But this season is quite interesting overall, Michael. The reaction to this season has been divided, to say the least, by fans. Ncuti Gatwa and Ruby Sunday are, in every sense of the word, a Gen Z style Doctor Who and his companion.
Disgusting.
Yeah, for some people, definitely disgusting. We've gotten a lot of new additions to the lore of Doctor Who, and it's important for our main topic this week, so I'm going to get into another episode that I watched after that one, because I was quite curious after this, because it's not a terrible episode. The first half of that episode is very solid, and it has that kind of classic Whovian resolution that I enjoy, where it's like...
Sure.
There's a security to watching it. The other thing I really liked is it's not dependent on Doctor Who. This was an episode that featured his companion. She was excellent in it and incredibly capable. She wasn't a damsel in distress that spent the rest of her life looking to get the Doctor back. She spent the rest of her life living her life and resolving a different situation. But she doesn't worry so much about the Doctor. She just assumes the Doctor has left her, because at this stage in season 14, she's only known the Doctor a couple of weeks. It's a very realistic man in a box, comes down from the stars, is in her life sometimes, and then just disappears. And like most normal people, they go, that was fucking mental, and then they leave it be. Now, some people have criticised this because they're like, that's not a realistic reaction to losing the Doctor. And then other people have been like, actually, you know, making mates in your early 20s in the smoking areas of nightclubs, and that's essentially what Doctor Who and Ruby
Sometimes
Sunday
they
are.
stick around for a few weeks and you never see them again.
And then you never see them again. But it got me delving back into it. It hooked me, Michael, because it is a very different Doctor. He's not... A lot of people are very annoyed because the previous episode was called Boom, and Doctor Who finds himself in the middle of a space war. And it follows a very similar plot. Doctor Who missteps and he finds himself on a specialised landmine that can take him out. And a lot of fans have gone, hang on a minute, the Doctor isn't clumsy. But I think what's really interesting about this, because I watched not the Christmas special, but the Rejuvenation special, where we got the bi-regeneration.
Yes.
The whole point of it is, Michael, is that this new version of the Doctor is not as experienced as the other ones. He's not the jaded, cynical, old war hero that was established by John Hurt's Doctor. You know, the war doctor thing, and, you know, carrying around a ton of trauma. He's actually not moping about Gallifrey every 2 minutes. He's not always 100% certain what's going on. He gets quite scared of some of the entities he's going up against. And for a lot of Whovians, you know, that died in the wool since Christopher Eccleston ones, miss their lonely time god, unflappable mega creation. But for me, I actually think it's a breath of fresh air to see Ncuti Gatwa be a little bit too enthusiastic and put a foot wrong, or to come up against a being that he hasn't seen since the beginning of his time traveling and go, oh fuck, this one's a bit scary. And that's the episode that brought me to
terrifying person.
Yeah, what a terrifying being from beyond time and space. And he has a very regular reaction to that, which is, fuck, what am I supposed to do against this? This is weird. And he has a little bit of trauma, because at the beginning of his regeneration, he faced the Toymaker, who forced him, and he says this in the episode I'm about to talk about, forced him to split his soul in half and regenerate. It took everything he had to take out the Toymaker. When he encounters something that is of equal origin or of similar power level, he goes, oh fuck, this is bad.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
Benjamin, remember all those reels where Ncuti Gatwa, where people were saying if you can pronounce Arnold Schwarzenegger, you can pronounce Ncuti Gatwa.
Yes.
And if you can pronounce Michael Fassbender, you can pronounce Ncuti Gatwa. Apparently Ncuti Gatwa has been pronouncing it incorrectly the whole time.
Oh no.
And his mum told him off.
Oh, there you go. Look.
So apparently it's not Ncuti, it's Ncuti.
Oh, have I been getting it wrong as well? God damn it.
Yeah, but only because he did in your defense. And I won't jump to your defense a lot of the time. But you just reminded me of it there.
That's absolutely mad.
With his mum for getting it wrong. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Anyway, sorry, speaking of Doctor Who lore, because I'm speaking of the toy maker there, so I may as well get into, because I watched a few of the episodes of this new season, and the other one I watched was The Devil's Chord. And the reason I was interested in The Devil's Chord is because it was featuring the character of the Maestro, and the Maestro was played by Jinx Monsoon. And that was the drag queen character that we saw introduced in some of the promo posters, and people went, oh, this is the new iteration of the Masters. It isn't, and it's intentionally playing with that because it's called the Maestro, which is just the Italian for master. But the reason it's called Maestro is that it's another being from the toy maker's world outside of this reality, and it's the owner of music. And the Doctor encounters this. Spoilers for the episode, sorry, I probably should have explained that. But I did say spoilers from the last point, so you can't give out too much. If you do want to give out, though, leave us a comment down below. Just give out to us down there.
Just lay in.
It turns out that's the toy maker's child. The Maestro is the toy maker's child. They use they, them pronouns because they are essentially a non-gendered being. They just are the owner of music. They do a classic Doctor Who thing. They're trying to steal all the music from the universe. It's a whole thing. But what's interesting to me, or what's drip-fed to us through it, is the toy maker exists as a member of something called the Pantheon of Discord. And this is something that's been drip-fed to us since the early days of David Tennant's Doctor Who. We saw the first mention of the Pantheon of Discord and something called the Trickster's Brigade in an episode of the Sarah Jane Chronicles, of all things, where we were introduced to a creature called the Trickster. And the Trickster is an eyeless being with a flesh face and very sharp teeth. Looks a bit like the gatekeeper from Lord of the Rings.
Now, Benjamin.
Yeah.
In the creature's defense, you and I both also have flesh faces.
We do. I meant smoothed over flesh face. Sorry. I should have been very clear.
Yeah.
I should
Well,
have
I'm
been
getting
very
my
clear.
Botox this weekend. So, in that case, I will also have a smooth over flesh face.
But we've been drip-fed this for a while, and one of the prevailing theories on who Ruby Sunday is, because her parentage is in question, she was given up as a child, and she has some strange abilities, some of which are explored in the thing, but the melody that is played when a little bit of her kind of non-human side is revealed every once in a while, the melody that plays is the same melody that was used for the Trickster in the Sarah Jane Chronicles. So there's a few people speculating about who Ruby Sunday is. But where it gets really interesting, Michael, is that the Doctor is terrified of this Pantheon of Discord. They are trying to come in to the universe. Now, we're only mid-season, and we know for a fact that Ruby Sunday, the actress who plays her, whose name I cannot remember and should have looked up before, she's finished.
Gibson.
Thank you very much. She's finished at the end of this season. So
she's only doing a one and done.
She's only doing a one and done, which is not uncommon. It's a Martha Jones style thing as well. One and done isn't that uncommon, but she is finished at the end of this season. And that's led to mad speculation among Whovians, because they want to know basically what the Pantheon of Discord is. Doctor Who refers to them as gods. He says you cannot play with gods in the Devil's Chord episode. He sees them as gods because they're outside the rules of reality, and they keep trying to find a way into our reality, and they can be invoked in a number of different ways. But he says the Toymaker is one of the big ones, and the only one the Toymaker is afraid of is the one who waits, and the one who waits is going to be revealed over the course of the episode. They reckon that's going to be the culmination. But one of the most fascinating things about all of this, Michael, and one of the things we've never seen from Doctor Who, is the amount of fourth wall breaks we get in the Devil's Chord.
Go on.
Jinx Monsoon's character of the Maestro breaks the fourth wall 3 or 4 times in the episode and winks at the audience. And even plays the theme to Doctor Who to kick off the episode. And does so intentionally to move things along. They play it on the piano, and it's led to a massive theory, because the end of the Devil's Chord is one of the most contentious endings of a Doctor Who episode ever, and it is a musical. it breaks into a musical, and it has people speculating because at the end of the musical number that finishes the Devil Chords, the Doctor breaks the fourth wall and winks at the audience. And that's never happened before. One of the things that was established in the now much maligned season 13 of Doctor Who is that nobody on Gallifrey knows where the Doctor comes from. He's known as, or they, I suppose they is the term now because they've been all kinds of genders at this point, Michael, but they were known as the Timeless Child, and it turns out that Gallifreyans, and this is massive spoilers for Whovian lore, Gallifreyans unlocked the secret to their regeneration by experimenting on the Doctor as a child. Now, he remembered none of this, blocked it out, but they don't know where he came from, and there's now a prevailing theory that, very much like the Maestro or the Toymaker, that the Doctor is a being from beyond our reality, that somehow found his way in to our reality. So there's a lot of speculation on who he might be in the pantheon of Discord, and one of the prevailing theories is that he may be the personification of drama, which would explain all the running and the constantly finding yourself embroiled in huge events throughout history and time and stuff like that. So it's a very interesting, I have to say, it's not, the new season is not entirely the Doctor Who we've come to expect, but it definitely needed that at this point. It needed a break from, I miss Gallifrey. Oh, God.
Oh, Gallifrey is great, isn't it?
Gallifrey was great. Wish I hadn't destroyed it. And yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Time bubble.
But, Michael, it begs a very huge question.
What question does it beg, Benjamin?
How do you even make gods? What's the deal with that?
What's the deal with gods, Benjamin? We decided to have a look at gods this week. The power and origin of gods in fiction. And now, Benjamin, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, all gods are bloody fiction, Mick. What are you talking about? And that's a very good point. Because one of the funny things about trying to define what is a god is they don't exist, you see. So it's really up to you, isn't it? Are gods just what people make them? And then that gets all meta. And in a lot of fiction, yes, that's exactly what it is. Look, Benjamin, we'll start with the classic Arthur C. Clarke quote, not Isaac Asimov, as you said earlier, and you're going to get notes on your comments. But look, there are worse things you can do than mix up Arthur C. Clarke and Isaac Asimov. They're practically the same man. That'll dig you out of it now, Ben, so you don't have to worry about what you said. But it was Arthur C. Clarke, Benjamin, who said any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that line is quoted pretty much directly to explain the Asgardians and what makes them gods.
Michael, there's nothing I hated more than the pissing on of Arthur C. Clarke's grave to explain why we weren't doing actual gods in the Marvel Universe.
I don't know if it was necessarily pissing on his grave. It was a homage. Also, I don't know that he's dead.
Arthur C. Clarke is very dead.
Oh, is he? Oh, 2008. Oh, yeah. Good innings, though, 90.
Ah, no, he did well. He did well.
Yeah, but the funny thing about that, Ben, obviously in the first Thor movie, Jane is like, are you gods or what? And Thor is, no, it's magic, mate. Trust me, it's science. You just don't understand it, so it's magic. But, Ben, in the MCU, is that true? Is it really? Is that true?
It's not by the fourth movie, where all of a sudden gods are everywhere and you can pray to them.
Gods are everywhere. You can pray to them. Every species has their own gods. And the afterlife is real.
Yep.
And Thor is not just a god with advanced technology. He's also a god amongst the Asgardians. The majority of Asgardians being relatively normal people.
Yes,
and
not
Thor
special.
Is a god to them. Yeah, Thor is a god to... So the MCU fucks it. Absolutely fucks it. They decided to go from the start with the Arthur C. Clarke, any sufficiently advanced technology appears as magic. And the Asgardians are aliens, pure and simple, advanced aliens who humans worshipped as gods. And within 3 movies, they've gone, nah, that's not great though. Let's just make them be gods, I guess. But what is a god? We don't know.
Yeah.
Why are Thor, Heimdall, Loki, Odin gods, but Valkyrie and Volstagg. No, Volstagg is a god, but Sif is Sif a god? Why is Sif a god but Valkyrie isn't?
I don't know.
So the MCU completely fucks it. They decided from the start to go with aliens, advanced aliens, but then they changed their minds. And not only did they change their minds, Ben, they slipped gods in multiple other guises, which is farcical.
Awful. Awful stuff.
So they introduced the Egyptian gods in the Moon Knight TV series.
Ugh.
And the Egyptian gods are bereft of an origin. They appear to just be the straight out of the mythology. They're the Egyptian gods.
That's all they are. They're just...
How does that jibe with Thor being advanced magic? Why is Thor using spaceships and laser guns, but the Egyptian gods are using metaphysical longboats? Don't know. Don't ask, don't question.
On top of that, why is Asgard a separate physical place outside of Earth so that the Asgardian gods are of non-Terran origin, but the Egyptian gods are firmly Terran-based and are in fact the native gods of the planet?
Yeah, and then don't forget that in Thor 4, they also introduced the Greek gods.
Russell Crowe, who could forget?
Crowe, he was there doing a Gina Davis impersonation. It was mental.
It was mental.
The MCU absolutely fucked it. And one of my favourite things in conversations with comic book fans is whatever the comic book fans' belief on gods. Marvel seems to be more controversial than DC. In DC, it appears to be the Greek gods are gods. They are just the Greek gods.
Yep.
There's never been an implication that they're aliens or any of that jazz.
Nope.
But in Marvel, they flip-flop all the time between, are these guys gods? Are these guys advanced aliens? Are they some sort of extra-dimensional beings? Why are there Greek gods and Roman gods and Norse gods, but also the Eternals, who are the inspiration for the Greek gods?
Yeah, they have the names of, for example, Icarus turns out alien from the stars, not a Greek god.
Yeah,
Ares probably
Athena.
knows Icarus by first name.
Yeah. Athena. Ares' sister, Athena, or aunt.
I think.
Yeah. Ares, Greek god. Athena, eternal. What are you doing?
Yeah, look, it gets messy. It did. One of my favorite Thor stories of the last couple of years, and it's a fucking mental one. And I know you probably read it because you're a big Thor comic book fan, Michael.
Yeah, I'd read
You
Thor.
get into it. One of my favorite ones. I don't know if it was Donny Cates or Jason Aaron who wrote it, but it's the one where they attempt to explain the origin of Dr. Donald Blake as Thor's alter ego, because in the original Thor run, Thor is the superhero alter ego of Dr. Donald Blake, who's a perfectly normal doctor who walks with a cane, and the cane is Mjolnir in disguise, and he does that most classic of early mythic superheroes. In the same way that Shazam says his name to get the lightning bolt, Donald Blake taps the cane on the ground. And in early iterations of the Thor story, the best way you could stop Thor was to take the cane away from Donald Blake so he couldn't give it an old double tap.
Yeah, great stuff.
And it was fabulous.
Stuff.
And it's either, again, I can't remember if it's Donny Cates or Jason Aaron, but it turns out that was a construct that Thor used to blend in with humans, and when he was done with them, he locked away that part of his identity deep in his psyche, and another god went into Thor's psyche and empowered Donald Blake to take back his own agency. And Donald Blake has gone fucking psychotic while he's been locked up in Thor's psyche. And Donald Blake goes on a murder spree. And the worst part is he has full control of Mjolnir because he could when he was a manifestation of Thor's psyche, which means he can now. And they separate them out. And Michael, the art, the storytelling, the sheer mania of that is fabulous. But the other thing that's fabulous is it just convolutes the whole fucking thing all over again.
Convolutes the whole fucking thing. Marvel Comics, Benjamin. There's going to be someone who'll at us in the comments who says, no, it's totally clear and not contradictory. They're gods. And then someone else will say, no, it's totally clear and not contradictory. They're aliens. And then there'll be someone who'll say, no, it's totally clear and not contradictory that it actually doesn't matter the distinction between gods and aliens. They are this and convoluted, Benjamin.
Have a way with you, lads. Give us all those comments.
Give us all those comments. But this is one of the tricky things about mixing gods in with your science fiction mythologies. Because you end up having to define them. You end up having to define what in this world actually is a god.
Yes.
And some less convoluted settings can do that very well. One of my personal favourites is Discworld.
Ah, Michael, look at my notes.
Look at your notes, Benjamin. Terry Pratchett.
Good old Terry Pratchett.
In the world of Discworld, Benjamin, it's on the back of that fucking turtle on those elephants, right?
A tune.
And it's just flat as shit.
Yeah.
And in the world of Discworld, one of the fundamental forces of existence is belief.
That's all it is.
That's all it is, Benjamin. And every living creature and every single thing that ever happens is a moment of note and can potentially bring a god into existence. So the day two fucking nerds met and serendipitously decided to start a podcast, a god could have been created that very day.
Out of a bit that we had.
Just out of a little skit. But Benjamin, unless that god gathers worshippers and people believe in them, they'll probably fade away to nothingness in the world of Discworld.
A flash in the pan,
world
Michael.
of Discworld. Yeah, but gods are created by happenstance and grow in power and sentience as more and more people believe in them.
Fucking fabulous.
Great stuff altogether. A really clear definition of what a god is. But because of that, Discworld is littered with gods. There are essentially infinite potential gods in the world of Discworld. And only the most popular, I tell a lie, only the most believed in get any sort of power or anthropomorphization. They
Hold
get
blind eye
to
up.
have personalities. And exactly, Benjamin. One of my favourite stories is from Small Gods, where the god of one of the major religions is dying because even though everyone follows the religion, no one actually believes in the god. And that's a cool little twist.
Michael, that is the most late-stage Catholicism narrative I've ever heard in my entire life.
Very good. Very dogma. Very... What's his name? Not Jack Black. The quiet Jack Black. Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith. Old Kevy Smiths.
And I think there's a very strong influence in that. And because there's a very similar relationship with gods in Neil Gaiman's works.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Michael. Nothing but real embodiments of God. But, Michael, it's so interesting. Neil Gaiman's gods are gods through a prism. One of the pratfalls of Marvel's approach to gods is that they are constant.
You're not saying pitfalls, you're saying pratfalls.
Pratfalls. Chris P. Rat.
Yeah, I think that's more suitable. Yeah, I think you're right there.
One of Marvel's great pratfalls when it comes to writing about gods or bringing gods into their setting is that they try and make a definitive god, a definitive version of Thor. Thor is Thor, both from Norse mythology, from the Edda, but also from the Marvel Universe as a superhero. They are all one singular being of Thor, unless you go to another reality within Marvel and then you get a variation on Thor, or you're reading the new Al Ewing version of Thor, where apparently Thor is encountering other versions of himself throughout history. But we'll get into that in another podcast, Michael. Neil Gaiman has a fabulous version of that kind of beautifully melds the fractional belief of Terry Pratchett's gods with the need for human security in the belief of gods. It's beautiful. So there is an Odin from Norway in Norse mythology, but there is an Odin through the prism of Norse immigrants, Viking immigrants, to the land of America. So there is also an American Odin. And the gods in that world are splinters of their origin. So they're variations on the original, but they are infused with the newly forming beliefs of their culture. So Odin as the deal-making god, as the betting god, sometimes known as Ul in Norse mythology, but they're both the same thing. Again, for another podcast, Michael.
Yeah, we don't have time on this one.
He becomes the god of deals in America, but the god of deals in the America that Neil Gaiman believes in, I think it's probably important to point that out, is the god of crossroad deals, cons, and fucking chance in your arm. That's Neil. That's America's Odin. That's who he is, and it's fab. It's great stuff.
Real Lovejoy sort of stuff. The other great thing about American Gods is again, it borrows something from the belief system of Discworld as well, where gods pop into being as it doesn't have the kind of defined, there's a soup of belief that gods form out of, quite the way Discworld does. But the plot of American Gods is these older gods who are beginning to be forgotten, waging a battle against the up-and-coming gods, the new beliefs, media, the television, not the radio, because video killed the radio star, but the internet, Ben. Great stuff. That concept of new gods being formed and worshipped.
One of my favourite things about Neil Gaiman's version of the gods within American Gods, because he's written about them before. We've seen Neil Gaiman's take on gods in a million different ways. Sandman being a huge example of that, Michael. It's a rethinking of what we would consider to be a god, but we'll get into that in a second. One of my favourite things about the American gods that he creates is they're just a bunch of scroungers. They're just chancers, the lot of them. They will lie, cheat, steal their way into belief. Odin will break his back and create a miracle to make the waitress in a diner believe in Odin. Just as much as he'll try and start a war so that people pray to him en masse. He'll do the same amount of work for one believer as he will for 1,000. And it's so interesting how that manifests as they go through.
Absolute grifter, Benjamin. He's absolutely living that hustle culture lifestyle. On the other hand, the other kind of great author of science fiction and fantasy and seminal author who used the term gods freely, and he didn't use them that much himself. A lot of this was attributed to him later, but a lot of H.P. Lovecraft's gribbly wibblies have been latter day redefined as gods.
Yeah, so funnily enough, I think to come full circle on how we started this conversation, Michael, H.P. Lovecraft's definition, or attributed kind of definition for what a god is, now matches apparently what Russell T Davies is building towards within Doctor Who. It is a being outside our own reality with a level of power beyond comprehension, so much that the only thing a mortal mind can do to comprehend it is to classify it as a god.
Or go mad.
Or go fucking batshit. Just lose it in the face of that. And it's touched upon a little bit in Doctor Who, because the beings from outside our reality refer to humans in that world as ephemerals.
I've heard that a few times, or mayflies, or some form like that.
Some form of that. We are a flash in the pan for them, and yet they need us. That's my favourite thing about it, because I think one of the true lines of a lot of the gods that we see here, back to Terry Pratchett at the beginning, is a lot of the gods in fiction love to parade around as if they don't fucking need humans until the chips are down and they go, actually, a little smidgen of belief wouldn't go amiss.
Might love a little bit of belief, it would be delicious. But Benjamin, that's what I think is something different about the gods, in inverted commas, of H.P. Lovecraft. Most of them are not on a level of, and this is my favourite thing about them, they're not on a level of sentience that we can understand or that we matter to them in any way.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't even, it's not that they don't care, they're beyond the concept of caring.
They don't even register us as a concept. Like, one of my favorite analogies for this, and I always remembered it was on a Reddit thread years ago, Michael, where someone said, we are ants to an elder god, that's why we go mad. Ants to a human is what humans are to a Cthulhu, for example. And I always remember, and he said, that's why you go mad when you comprehend something of that scale. And I remember someone else chimed in and he goes, no, that's not quite the horror of Lovecraftian elder beings. The horror of Lovecraftian elder beings is, imagine if you took an ant, made it into a human, had it live a couple of years as a human, and then turned it back into an ant inexplicably and sent it back to the ant colony.
Yeah, and said, go about ant stuff now.
Go do ant stuff now. So you elevate something's consciousness to a brand new level of perception to keep up with the likes of Cthulhu, because that's the level they're living on by comparison. And then you just cast them back down to the ants and go, off you go.
I don't actually believe that about Cthulhu, Ben, because I think he's just a big grovelly slobbily. I don't think he's that smart at all.
I think he's just a
big
big
beaten
hunger.
by a fishing boat. Just someone crashes a fishing boat into him and he's like, ow, I'm going home.
Yes, some of it's bizarre, Michael. One of my least favourite interpretations of the Cthulhu mythos, and we get a lot of them, is that they're a sinister being with machinations on taking over humanity. I don't think they give a fuck. I think they're fucking...
No, they're just dickheads.
I think they're just grazers
Benjamin.
moving through the cosmos.
Yeah, just eating us all up. Again, to go back to Arthur C. Clarke, or Asimov, this might have been Asimov, but any sufficiently advanced alien species would appear as gods, which is the plot of a lot of sci-fi, including the recent three-body problem, which is closer to what you described, where the Trisolarans or the Santi see humans as bugs, as insects, as little more than ants. But then it turns out we'll probably catch them and beat them up in the end.
We'll get them. Humanity, the indomitable human spirit.
Yeah, but then that also brings me in mind of the Zeely sequence of novels, Ben, where you have a species of aliens who are so genuinely far in advance of humanity that we can't understand their actions, their abilities, their world, their universal view on things. And they are far more godly than a guy coming down and smacking you with a hammer because you robbed a bank.
Oh, Donald Big Thor.
Yeah, got him. Took him down a notch.
Took him down a notch, Michael. Yeah. What a great discussion. Look at the ways we've portrayed them throughout fiction, Michael. It's all fictional, as you said.
I suppose. Yeah, it all is, isn't it, in a lot of ways? We should do an episode of Jesus in pop culture someday, Ben. Really get cancelled by our conservative listeners.
Yeah, that wouldn't be great. Speaking of, Michael, speaking of getting cancelled.
Go on.
You can cancel us in a few different
Yes,
places. Hop up on the interwebs at www.seomrabeag.com, seomrabeag.com, and cancel us over there.
It kind of means tiny room in Irish to some degree.
To some degree, in the same way that Thor in the Marvel comics kind of translates to Thor in mythology. It's a bit kind of. Ladies and gentlemen, you can also find us on our other website, because we're so good we've got two. www.
Don't update either of them.
SureLookShouldListenPodcast.acast.com. We're over there.
Great stuff.
You can go give it a look. We're also up there, ladies and gentlemen, on the Instagram at SureLookShouldListenPodcast.
Great stuff on the Instagram. We've been banned for a little while, but we're back. But
we're not
doing
really.
Great. Hop up on it, please.
No, we're not really. We're still getting fucked. But come here to me. We're also up there on the TikTok where we are doing okay, Michael. Nearly 100 followers in a week. I'll have
That's
you know.
not too bad.
Not too shabby for us, I say.
That'll do, won't it?
That'll do.
That's
Give us
'cause of
another
my,
100 this
that's
week,
'cause of my
ladies and
X-Men
gentlemen.
puns.
It's all those aubergine based puns that are doing it for us. Ladies and gentlemen, the best way to get in touch with us and get your daily dose of mutant based vegetal humour is to hop up on the Discord linked below in the description.
Hop up on it. We are the pantheon of Discord. I am the moderator.
Nice! Ladies and gentlemen, you can join us in a week's time where we'll be taking a look at the brand new emerging theme on TikTok of the indomitable human spirit, which is, funnily enough, mortals taking on godlike beings. But we'll talk about that next week on the podcast. That's just a
how exciting.
placeholder. If you can think of something better, we'll do that instead.
Now we'll do that. Sounds great. See ya.